we're gonna do Chazara of the using my recording voice. We're gonna do the Chazara for the Shavuot Shir.
You had your voice on during Shavuot.
So all right. So the area is Chukas Akum. So we're gonna start. We'll start with the Rambams. What?
Yeah.
So we know the Rambam says in Parak Beis Halacha Aleph in Avodah Zarah, he talks about the Iker Tzivoy, the Iker Isser of Avodas Kochavim, which is to worship an idol, right, or something created. Okay, and that's the essential expression of Avodah Zarah. Avodah Zarah is expressed as Lo Lavot Echa Mikol Abruim, etc., etc. Right, and it would appear based on the way the Rambam says, there's really there's no room for exceptions to this. All right, for instance, like if it's even if it's for refuah, you still can't worship something that's created. The only thing you can worship is God. Okay, all right. So start with Parak Yud Aleph Hilchos Avodah Zarah Halacha Aleph.
In Hilchos Avodah Ovdei Chavim, V'lo Medamnin.
Lahen. All right, stop. So what does that mean?
Do not go in the ways of.
But yeah, so what does it mean? So ain't Hilchos Avodah Zarah. What?
Yes, in the Chazara.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Sometimes it's like the Ram says ain't Ochin V'lo Medamin Lahem. What's Medamin Lahem mean?
Be similar.
Be similar to them. Okay. Emulates.
Below B'modos, below Tvisar.
Okay, so which implies what?
Non-Tvisar.
No, I'm saying, but what do we learn from that? Second source.
Outward.
Right. Well, no, don't. Luckily, what's he saying? Categories, right? Sounds like there's two categories of Chukas Akum, Mavlish and Seyar. Fine, you can put them underneath one category total, but the point is, it seems like this is what he's listing as the problem with Chukas Akum, right? Ucha Yotza Behen. And similar to that, right? Shinemar. Right, so and that's literally quoting the Sifra or Sifri, I forgot which one, but it's quoting that literally. In other words, that it says in there that even though it's three separate psukim, it's one idea. So on the surface, you would treat these verses the same way you would treat, let's say, the normal Isra Avodah Zarah. The most the Isra Avodah Zarah is the one that is most repeated in the Torah. Why did they have it so many times? Not that they don't learn something unique from each one. Well, they sometimes do. I'm saying it's not that they learn a unique Isra Avodah Zarah from each one. It just the Mazir you let you know it's a really bad thing. So similar here, it's one idea of Chukas Akum. Okay.
Yisrael moved up and we do them all busha we b'sar
Mishar.
B'sar myself. Moved up and Mado Dasa.
Right. So what does that sound? So rather, what should the Jew be? The Jew should be muvdal, right? Muvdal, separated out and known by his by what he wears and his other actions, like our ideology, right? Okay. So this is like a gateway, right? Just literally, the Rambam saying it's a gateway to seeing the Jew as a unique kind of person. Okay. V'cheinu omer. Oh, so and then it says what? It says, I will separate you from the other nations. Okay, fine. Then comes this one additional line. Lo yilbash b'mavlush hamyuchad lahen. Right? That's key. Lo yilbash b'mavlush hamyuchad lahen. That's going to become a big issue, as I think you guys appreciated at the end, right? That's like the critical issue. The whole move today for us being able to, I don't know what you're wearing right now, for us to be able to wear clothing that is, using clothing as an example, similar to a guy, is because of that one line in the Rambam. Okay? Fine. The Skibev lo yidaltis, we know that fine. Can't have a moach. What does he at the end? Lo yivneh.
Lo yivneh mekamos kibinyan kolchos. Shalakum, Kadesh Yefnasu ben Rabim, Moshe and Osen, Ochol Hosa Achas Melu, Yosef ben Lokum.
Okay, so he adds one last category. So what was that category?
And make buildings similar to theirs.
Can't make buildings, now again, literally, you can't build places, right, that are unique to the Goyim in order for them to gather lots of people. Okay? So the examples we were using is like a church. Alright? But what does the Ravid ask? It's a very interesting Ravid.
In Yudea Mahuze, in Yamar Shlo Yasa ben Masiros, Kmo Shen Osim, O Shlo Yasa Shem Hamanim, Simon Akavit that's Rabin, Kedech Shem Osim. Okay, so what was interesting about his kasha? Do you guys remember?
He doesn't know what the Rambam was talking about.
Right, it's not a normative Ravid kasha. You know the Ravid. Right, by the way, saying the Ravid's kasha is, I don't know what his reason is. Like, what is it? What's the reason? Because the Rambam says two things. He says building and he says large gatherings. So he says, is it which would seem to be something in the building itself? Like again, using the classic example. Doesn't mean it has to be a religious building, but using the example of a church. Churches have a unique structure to them. Like in Rome, all churches have domes. Okay? Is that what he's talking about? Oh, shelo yasin sham chamanim, similar to Kavis Rabim. So they would build like these small little things, like pillars, and that would be the indicator that this is going to be a gathering place. So the Ravid says, I don't know which way the Rambam's going. Which one is it? Okay? But the deeper question is, what's the more important question? Now, I'm not taking away from the Ravid. I'm not taking anything away from the Ravid. But what's the more important question? What's this extra category? Right?
With the building?
Yeah. What is that category? So he goes, Mablish Seyar, examples of Seyar, and then throws in at the end, also this. And what's the source for this? So, Avi, you mentioned this. You could say it's kind of hinted to in the Sifra when it says you can't, doesn't say to build though. It says to go to, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But it says it says you can't attend theaters and circuses and things like that. So maybe you can tease from that the notion that that's what the Rambam was alluding to. Could be. But clearly there's no Gemara that says this. Okay? Okay. Fine. Now, go to Allah Gimel.
Gimel? No. Set based. Yisrael Shaya Karev L'Malchus, Serach Lishev Leshev Lifnei Melachim, Vayelo Gnai Lefi Shlo Yidam Lehen, Harizeh Muter Lo Bush B'Malbushem, the Gilgach Keneged Panav Kaderach Shen Osim.
Right. So this is the exception. Okay? And that
Where did you get this one?
that's from the Gemara.
The Gemara, because it's a very specific case.
Oh, so how's he universalizing it?
Yeah.
Well, no, Gemara is two cases. The Gemara is a case of Rav Shimon Gamliel, right, which we'll get to, with the 500 kids, and he says that's because he was Karl Malchus.
Let's learn the Greek.
No, but why was it allowed to do that? That's Chukas Akum. Why were they allowed to learn Greek? Because Karl Malchus, like the example of the guy we're going to see later on. By the way, but just to let you know, after that, so Lachadal, you have Nichush. What's Nichush? Divining. Oh, okay. Give me an example, right? Like you're going Elu Shomrim, Halacha Daled. Oh, I forgot to see. And then I forgot to see. This is why Chazar is so important. I forgot to mention this. Okay. Notice something. I made this. There's an interesting diak you see in the Rambam. Okay. First, the Rambam says Ein Holchem B'Chukas Avodas Chachamim. Right. Then, when he gets to the next Isser, he says Ein Menachshin Ke Akum. Right. You can't do Nichush like who? Like a goy. But then later on, by Koseim, Onein, all the other ones, he never says like Ka'akum. So the question is, why is it here that he mentions that you can't do Nichush like an Akum? All of them you should have said, you can't do Koseim like an Akum, or never say like an Akum.
Just Kosim according to the Jews.
The Chas v'Chalila, how do you say such a thing?
I don't know.
Right, that's, God forbid. But anyway, but the point is, why does he say Emenachshin Ke'akum? If you remember what we said at the end, you see why it makes sense. But why does he add it here, Menachshin Ke'akum? Okay? So but you don't have to read all this stuff. The point is, what does the Ram has? The Ram has Nichush, Koseim, Onein, Chover Chaver, Ye'ov, Yidoni. Everything after Halacha Aleph, everything after Chukas Akum are listing of separate Isurim. And if you look at the Kosaris, each one's its own separate prohibition, discussing different types of superstitions, right? Trying to find out the future, these kind of weird things that are not based in any Torah reality. Okay? So again, what's the question we asked?
Why is Akum first?
Why is Chukas Akum first?
Right.
Okay, why is Chukas Akum first?
Right.
Again, the question is, if I asked you what the Isser of Nichush is a separate Isser, right? So then how does it fit in the theme of Chukas Akum?
Right.
Because he starts out with Chukas Akum, right? And not only that, even more so. If I ask you what's worse, dressing like a guy, or Nichushing, or Kosmim, or Ovidoni, what sounds like, what's worse?
No violence.
Right. Is it because of the tone? Is it because of the tone of my voice?
It's obvious.
No, I
Right.
don't.
Okay, right. So Ovidoni is definitely worse, or Nichush sounds worse than dressing up like a guy, but yet, in the order of the Rambam, he puts Chukas Akum first. So why? Okay? Okay. And then he sums it up by saying, V'advar ma'ilu halachates zayim.
V'ma'ilu kulan divrei sheker kizav in v'em shehatu she'itahu ben ovdi l'chavim hagmunin l'goy arzot.
So now you understand why I brought this in. So all these things are lies, right? And they're mistakes that the Goyim made early on. Okay, it's a mistake that the Ovdei Chachamim made early on. All this comes from a mistake. Okay?
Oh, mistake.
So for us, as these wise people, to follow what they do would be inappropriate. Okay? Okay. Yeah. Go to the Sefer Mitzvos. So in the Sefer Mitzvos, Lo Sase Lamed. Okay, what does the Rambam say?
Mitzvah
Shloshim. 30.
She's Hirnu Malachos V'Darchei HaKofim Misnahig B'Minag L'Sem V'Afilu B'Mavushem.
Oh, come on, say it.
What?
Say it the way I want to hear it.
V'Afilu?
Thank you. The Mavushem, the Kibbutz Moshavam. Okay? So the Rambam says, what's the Isser? The Isser is, you can't walk in the ways of the Goyim. Okay? Or, right, and to behave like they do. Okay? Which I know was bothering you guys. Like, what does that mean? I mean, it's like unbelievable. These things are so vague. You're not going to find in anyone in the Shulchan Aruch a listing of these are the nihugim you're not allowed to do. Well, one obvious answer is why.
It's because they change.
No, they change. I mean, there is no fixed set of minhagim. But that's the easy thing. The question is, but how do you devise like a border, right? How do you devise a border to know at what point is it their nihug versus our nihug? And don't just say because I'm following halacha. That's how I know. It's got to be more complex than that, right? Okay, but why is afilu a problem?
And even, what is it coming to include? Why is
Better
it
than that. Afilu means what?
Even.
Okay, even meaning that minhagim are bad, but even something as benign, right, as minimal as clothing, is included in the category. But the problem is in halacha aleph and Mishnah Torah, what is the paradigm? Clothing. So mimanashach. How could the paradigm be the minimal? Does it make sense? Paradigms usually are the worst, not the minimal. Wait, is it the Morning Buchim Chelik Gimel Parak Lamed Zayin?
He's here. Ma'asa's never David.
Okay, so again, just to be clear, I didn't bring the Morning Buchim in to discuss the philosophy of Chukas Akum. That's not the point here. The point here is to show you that the Rambam's telling you what's the objective of it. It's to keep us away from Kishuv, right? Now let's use Kishuv as like a categorical concept of. How would you categorize Kishuv? Magic, right?
Voodoo.
Things that are voodoo. Things are not in Torah reality. Okay, all right. So what's the objective of Chukas Akum? To avoid that. And then you were mentioning before that's part of the slippery slope idea. And the Rambam seems to be endorsing the slippery slope concept that we don't want to get near Kishuv, so that's why we don't do Chukas Akum. Okay. But the problem is that what's the problem with that? The Keshiv from the Morning Nevuchim is that Chukas Akum means what? It means, and he says, like for instance, Darchei Amori. Okay, Darchei Amori, right, are things that are asar, and he's going to say they're going to fall under this larger category of Chukas Akum. Okay, so again, I know it's tricky. The Rambam in the Yad says there's an Isser Chukas Akum, and what's that Isser comprised of? Malbush and Seyar, right? And Binyan Yecholos, right? Right, but how do we know that? So take a look at the Gemara in Shabbos. The Gemara in Shabbos, Samach Zayin Amud Aleph, right? The Mishnah says, Yotzim Beitzas Achargol V'Shein Shul Masmer Minat Salov Mishum Refuah. So a person's allowed to wear, let's do a fox tooth on Shabbos. You can go out with it on Shabbos. Why? Because it's Refuah. The Chacham say no. The Chacham say that all these things are considered Darchei Amori. So Rashi says, what's Darchei Amori? Nichoshu. Uchsib Uvuchosem Lo Selechu. Now you got a big problem. Why? What's the problem? Rashi says Darchei Amori means what? Nichush, which is Chukas Akum. So 1 second. The Rambam says Chukas Akum is Malbush and Seyar. Then he lists the Isser of Nichush and the Isser of Kosem and the Isser of Me'onein as separate Isurim, right? But Rashi seems to be saying, and then in the Morah though, he equates Chukas Akum with Darchei Amori. In the Gemara, it's pretty clear that Darchei Amori, Nichush, and Chukas Akum are all synonymous, they seem all synonymous. In other words, what's Chukas Akum? And the Gemara in Shabbos, what's Chukas Akum? Darchei Amori, which is Nichush. But that's not what the Rambam says, right? The Rambam in the Yad doesn't say it. The Rambam in the Yad says there's Chukas Akum as one category and Nichush as another category. You understand? So it seems like a stira. In the Morning Nevuchim, he seems to be saying that Darchei Amori, which would be Nichush and all these other things, right, is in Chukas Akum. But the Yad, he doesn't write that. The Yad, he writes, what's Chukas Akum? Malbush. And Nichush is separate. So how do we answer that? Okay? That's going to be a critical question. Right? Clear? Getting a little tired there. So now swing over to the Gemara in Sanhedrin on the Ayin Daled, just to add one more issue here. So the Gemara, the Mishnah, the Gemara in Ayin Daled, which we had done previously, deals with Yarva Yavor, right? In that Gemara, what do we see? So we see that when it comes to a mitzvah kala and a time of Zera Shmad, right, you're chayav to take the bullet. Now, what's an example of mitzvah kala?
Red shoelaces.
No, not Darchei Mari. What? Not treif. Chukas Akum. Right, but read right. So read the Gemara. Bottom line, Ayin Daled Alav. My mitzvah kala.
My mitzvah kala. Okay. Amar Bar Yitzchak. Amar Nuye Arkasa
The Masana, which is what?
The color of your shoelace.
Okay, you're cheating because you know that from the Rif. But the point is that what would happen? So the Rif explains. I'll read the Rif real quickly. The Rif says, Yud Zayin Amabez in Sanhedrin, he says, my mitzvah kala, he says, Arkasa de Masana, perish, Hanachrim sheba osozman, so the Goyim at that time, Hayu osun ritsuos sham menalean adumos. So they would wear, they'd have these straps, or for us it's shoelaces, over their shoes that were red, right? V'Yisrael hayu osun shchoros. And the Jews would have black ones. Kedei shelo yilbashu mabush nachrein, in order to avoid dressing like the Goyim, right? Im yomar nachal Yisrael asay ritzuos min alacha adumos b'farhesia o narogoscha yarog val yaseh v'avishim mitzvah kala. That's wild, by the way. It's unbelievable. I mean, how many people would really do that? But whatever. And in times of shmud, times when the Goyim are really are coming down on us, right? So if they tell you to do something as minor as be over the Isra Chukas Akum, which would be expressed by changing the color of my shoelace, you got to take the bullet.
I know it's.
How comes the first main thrust here? Okay, I think, which was the so the Gemara. But this is a great. I love this Gemara. This is a classic Gemara. Then Zamabez in Sanhedrin. Okay, Mishnah. What?
I think I'll retire.
Retire from reading. Mitzvos and Eragin.
Mitzvos and Eragin hayu masizin as rosh b'sayif.
Stop. Okay. So astounding. What does the Mishnah tell you?
Mitzvah narag.
Hereg. Okay. So what are the different mitzvahs based in? Let's start over. Skila, Sreifa, Hereg, V'chanek. Okay. Now, when you look at the other ones, Skila, Sreifa, and Chanek, what do we know about them?
Those are all organically Jewish.
What they are, how to do them.
Right. What?
There were no
They are
metal
not-
objects being used
What?
to kill the person.
They are and how to do them.
Right. Exactly. Okay. Good. Right. We know exactly what to do. Okay. But when it comes to Hereg, now what is the misa of Hereg? And its most base form. Decapitation. Beheading the victim. Okay. Or I was calling victim, but anyway, the defendant.
Beheading the human being.
The defendant. Right. So, all right. But so what does the Mishnah tell you? The Mishnah says we use a sword. Kederech shal malchus oseh. Who's the malchus?
Going.
The Goyim. Well, in this case, it's the local government. Okay. So the king, when they decide to institute capital punishment on someone, what do? They use a sword. The Mishnah says. The Chachamim say, so what do? We don't know what to use. Again, implying we don't know what to use to kill them. Just you take it literally. We look to what they use. They use a saif. So we use a saif also. Seems like a very good way to kill someone. Okay?
If you didn't know anything, how do you know that satisfies you?
Oh, one second. What does Yehuda say? Yehuda says...
You know, Omer. Gaivel.
No, nivel.
Sorry. Nivel who?
Low. What's nibble mean? It's disgusting, distasteful, horrible, right? For who? For the guy getting killed. Why? So Rashi explains this. What's going to happen? You're going to no. That's later. You're going to take this sword. You're going to take it. You're going to cut it, and then he's going to collapse. Yeah. But this is the initial way of understanding the Menuvel, right? Let's keep going in the Mishnah. So what do you do instead? Ella manichin. Hasdan. The kupitz. So what do? You lay him out on a log. You take the kupitz, which was what?
An axe.
Right, a cleaver. I think cleaver is the best way. But take a cleaver, and what do? Behead him that way. So what is it? What did the Chacham answer? So Amrullah.
nice rewards.
I'm gonna go A Misa, me.
Minuvelas mizu. Which means
No, he said.
you're telling me that the way I was doing it was menuvel. My God, you're going to suggest, like Chacham is saying this. Chacham said to Rav Yehuda, you're telling me that you're telling us that we're doing something disgusting? This is the worst way you could ever kill someone. It's
Scythe
horrible.
with an axe?
No, with an axe.
Oh,
okay. Now, I'll just read it. Don't take your finger off the spot. But the Yad Ramah, which was critical to understanding this, what does Yad Ramah tell us? You guys remember?
This is jagged edge thing?
Yeah. So he explains a few things. First of all, okay, he explains that when it came to the Saif, okay, we have to understand is that using a Saif made a lot of sense. Okay? Why does Saif make a lot of sense?
What's it used for?
Right. It's an efficient way of killing someone. Okay? But the Kupitz, what's different about the Kupitz? So he
It's used
explains.
for trees.
So the Kupitz does accomplish the objective of killing a guy, right? Because it's a cleaver. Right? He says it's Numez on base in Yad Ramah. He says Kupitz nami charav karulei. A Kupitz is also referred to as a charav. Okay? And it's like a big knife. It's wide, right? Looks like a cleaver. So what happens? Because of its weight and its size, when I lay it down on the guy's neck, what's going to happen?
That's kind of big.
What? A cleaver? Yeah. It's going to hurt the guy. It's going to behead the guy, right? Now the Chacham say, "Ein l'cham misa menuvelas mizu." Why? Okay. So now we start getting the principles down. But let's just say factually, why is this not a nice way to kill someone? What's going to happen when you chop him up with the cleaver?
The muscles will be jagged.
Yeah, it's going to be a very messy cut. Okay. What's that?
One stroke?
Right. Now what's it? Yes, but because it's not as clean. It's not as clean. So what's it? Okay, that's a separate question. All right, good. All right, but because I don't think the cleavers look like that.
So what do you think they look like?
Man, they weren't as sharp as that.
Right, so what was it? Like
Dull.
Mad serrated?
Yeah, probably more serrated, like a saw. Okay. So the question is, so why couldn't you? So why is it a problem according to Chachamim? Why can't when it says maneuver? What's the problem with that? It's a violation of what? Because when it comes to when you kill people, forget skila for a second. When we kill the defendant, we have to do it in a way. It's called misa yafe. It should be like a nice death. Okay. So if you have a choice between a kupitz and a sayif, what are you going to use? You're going to use a sayif. Okay. Now back to the Gemara.
But doesn't the Gemara depend on the time?
I don't know. Could be. Okay, so what does the Gemara say?
Tanya Amar Loren Rav Yehuda L'Chacham Af Ani Yudeh Shemisa Minuvelas.
So your Rav Yehuda says to Chachamim what? He says, listen, I know, using kupitz, it's not a nice way to kill someone. Definitely not a nice way to kill someone. But, come on, it's such a great line. What am I going to do? Right? Done. Right? What can I do? Got no choice. Right? Why?
That's a great line throughout humanity, though.
I agree. Shari Amra Torah.
Dang. Shari Amra Torah, the Kusam Lo Telechu.
Stop. So the Torah tells us what? It says there's an Isser of Chukas Akum. So what he says to them is that I have a problem. You're right. The method of using a kupitz is disgusting. Right? But what I have no choice but to use a kupitz. Why? Saif's Chukas Akum. Okay, so you have to understand, just if you guys remember, what's the first step you have to make here to set this up? Let's get all the facts out, okay? Okay, so we know there's a principle, everyone agrees with that principle, right? So Rav Yehuda is saying, I know Misa Menuvelas, meaning I know using a kupitz would be a violation of a Hatlarecha Kamocha. But what am I supposed to do if I use a Saif, I'm over Chukas Akum, okay? Meaning that the Chachamim say, that one more fact in a second. The Chachamim say that using kupitz would be a violation of Mahat Chamocha, and according to Rabbi Yehuda, he'd say it's a problem using a sayif because of Chukas Akum. So it would appear then that you have a conflict of principles, right? That's going to be a very difficult way to approach this. As you'll see, the Gemara is going to reject that in a second. You can't say to Machlokas in which wins out, Chukas Akum versus Mahat Chamocha. You understand that? That's an important point. You can't approach a machlokas as a machlokas of what wins out, Chukas Akum versus V'hatla Recha Kamocha. Because if that were the case, the Gemara would not have to do the next thing it does. What's the next step in the Gemara? The Gemara says, 1 second. Rabbanan.
Rabban Kevon Dichsiv Saif Barasa Lo Muneo.
Kagaminan. So where's Saif written in? Where do we see Saif? In the Torah. Okay, so now let's just be completely honest about it. Does it actually say the word Saif in the Torah?
No, it says
It says Charev. It never says Saif. Right? The word Saif does not appear in the Chamisha Chumshei Torah. All right? But the Chacham we're going to say, since it says Charev, that's like Saif. But we'll define that at the end. But the point is like this. The fact that it's in the Torah means that it won't be a problem with Chukas Akum. Right? So now, how do you set the machlokas up then? You don't set it up as a machlokas of V'hata Recha Kamocha versus Chukas Akum. Rather, what you say is like this: the Chachamim agree that if it didn't say it in the Torah, it would be Chukas Akum. Okay, but the fact that it does reference in the Torah means that it's not Chukas Akum. So now you're left with Kupitz versus Saif, and you have to choose one over the other. What do you choose? The Saif, because Kupitz would be V'hata Recha Kamocha, right?
Yes.
Whereas, what does Rav Yehuda say? Rav Yehuda is going to have to say that, oh, I would choose the Saif over the Kupitz because of Hatarei Kamocha, but I can never even enter into that category because he's going to disagree with the fact that the Torah has an allusion to Saif. You understand? They both, everyone agrees.
That's nicer, but he can't.
Right, and everyone agrees that if the Torah didn't mention it, right, then Chukas Akum will kick in. So Chukas Akum would be the first. Chukas Akum is the primary issue, right? V'hata Recha Kamocha is the secondary issue. Is that clear? This is the step that some people had a difficult time with, but you see, it's the right step to take. Okay. What do we say? What in this step? What's the first step here?
Seemingly incorporating Goyish practice into halacha.
Right. Okay. In other words, what are you doing? So you're saying that you can't take an action that a guy does, okay, and then make it into a chok for us, meaning that you're taking it and you're giving it, you're making it part of the halachic system, but not that it's really part of the halachic system, because there's no mechanism that would naturally allow something from the goyim, right, to tether it or fuse it into the halachic system. That's impossible. But what are people going to say? People are going to say, right, that, where does Saif come from? So when the mitzvah of Hereg comes about, we don't use a Jewish method, we use a Goyish method. So they're going to look at the performance of the Misa as being one source in the Goyim. So the first step I think you have to take, and I think this is one of the pillars you build everything off of, is that the problem with Chukas Akum is not a problem in what? It's not a problem in the Misa, it's a problem in the source. It's where it comes from that's the issue, right? That's why I think that
perception.
No, that's what emerges from it. But we're not saying it's not that there's a problem using a sword. A sword is a great way to kill someone. The problem is that
the problem can also be the source because the source is
Goyim. Right. So the problem is the source. There's the action and the source.
No, but it's only a problem if it's perceived as from the Goyim. I'm saying it could be actually completely from the Goyim and not known. So
no, but that's
it's a low key Goyish practice. Low key.
Then there would be Goyish practice.
Then we'll have Shem Goy.
Right.
Fine.
Done. So okay. So all right. So that's the first thing. That's the first step. Okay. Now why does he use this as the best example? Because we know Saif has no halachic surah, right? There's no halachic surah to Saif. We don't know what you're allowed to. Oh, I should say Hereg. Hereg has no halachic surah, right? So Rav Yehuda steps in and says, we can't use a sword, because if you use a sword, what are people going to say? They're going to say, look, you now took a Goyish practice and incorporated it into a Jewish practice, right? So the problem is, it's not in the Maisa of the Saif, it's that it's coming from the Goyim. That's the key thing that Rav Yehuda is bringing out, which I don't think we ever disagree with. The Chacham don't disagree with that notion, okay? So that leads us now to, so what is the machlokas then? We should never use the Chachamim. What's their machlokas then? So we know from the Gemara later on, what is the source in the Torah for Saif, according to Rabbanan? Charev. Okay? So the Gemara never takes this up, but what does Rabbi Yehuda do with the fact that it says Charev in the Torah? Right? Or is the machlokas is going to be whether Charev could be considered a source in the Torah or not, at this point. Okay? Is Charev considered a legitimate source or not? So how do we define that? You remember?
There's two different Charevs.
Do we look at Charev as introducing halachic category? HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells us what? when it comes to beheading someone, use a charev. Charev meaning there's a category called sharp objects. And now, in that category, what do you have? Axes and swords and da-da-da-da. So now, what do Chacham have to do? They have to take each one and evaluate, can I use this or not? So then you could bring in what's going to be machriya. What's cleavers and swords both adequately take off someone's head? So how are you going to know which way to go? Needs to be the old machriya. You need a machriya, right? So Ba'advei Chamocha comes along as machriya and tells you which way to go. But what does Rabbi Yehuda hold? Rabbi Yehuda says no. He says the charev doesn't mean a halachic category. Charev is just a semantic term that we use. It's a synonym for blades, right?
Makes it not being in the Torah?
Correct.
The fact that it's basically synonymously in the Torah?
No, since charev could mean kupitz or could mean sayef, right? So now he's saying before we ascertain what it means, let's first look at Chukas Akum. Because Chukas Akum is going to precede his analysis of the Torah. He says, I know it says charev, but charev is a term that could mean anything, right? It could mean sword, this. So since it could mean anything, so now we're going to say, since the Goyim used a sword, we're not going to be allowed that opportunity to express stuff in the Torah. You understand? It's almost like, I mean, let's say this a little carefully. It's almost like you have the term charev, and we can come along, and since it means all these different things, we can come along and give our explanation for what charev is. We can take charev and put onto it kupitz. You understand? We can make, since charev is a generic, synonymous term, we can go ahead and take the specific thing and make that word mean that. Since we're going to do that, then we're going to consider sayef, meaning Chukas Akum, prior to figuring out what we want charev to be. You understand? That's the machlokas, I think, in Sanhedrin. Machlokas is how do we look at charev? We look at charev as a halachic category. So then we have to figure out, should we use this one or that one, right? And what's going to be machriya about the Rekamocha? Or do we say no? Do we say that charev just is a word that means sharp objects, to kill, to behead? Now we don't know which one it is, right? So it could be, it's used as a common term. So we have the right to go ahead and put a specific blade on that term, okay? So the question is then, according to Rav Yehuda, we never even entered into the possibility that the Torah would say sayef, because sayef is rooted in the Goyim. According to the Chacham, there's nothing halachically wrong with using a kupitz, mipi kupitz. It's just the problem is you have this external issue of that it's not a misa yafa, but they're both in the category exist. These things stand on equal pillars. There's no difference between the two, right? They're equal standing. There's no difference between them. So you need an external machriya to tell you that one is different than the other, but not because there's something better. Again, they both behead. It's just that this one has the problem of Hatla Kamocha. You understand?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So now what does the Gemara say? Back to the Gemara.
Me?
Yeah, you.
Why? Well, I just finished it.
No, Dilo Temahachi, because if you don't say that the fact that something is sourced in the Torah prevents Chukas Akum from emerging, again, if you don't agree with that principle, in other words, there's a principle. If it's written in the Torah, right, what comes first? Chukas Akum or Torah? Torah, because we're all about Chachma, right, and truth. So therefore, truth must, if it's in the Torah, it must be true, and therefore it can never be Chukas Akum. You can never say if it's written in the Torah, like for example, like let's say we hold a Shabbos. If the Goyim start doing Shabbos, then we don't do Shabbos anymore. That's absurd, because it's in the Torah. Okay?
Nice and from.
Nice and from. So what does the Gemara say? Midarchei Amori. So okay, what's Sorfin al Malachim? So what was the a very common custom? So when a king died, what would you do?
Burn his stuff.
Burn his personal belongings. Okay, I don't know the whole philosophy of that, but that was a
safe transfer.
One theory. But the point is, they would do it. They would burn the guy's clothes and other personal belongings. Okay. So things like this, and the Gemara said over there, and Avodah Zarah says it's not Darchei Mori, meaning it's not what? Chukas Akum, right? It's not Chukas Akum to do that. Why? Right? But doesn't Torah tell you can't follow there? That's Chukas Akum. So the Gemara says, Ella.
The Ella.
No, just Ella.
Ella came on this Reifa Moraisa. Dixiv.
Masrefos.
Masrefos of
Avosecha. V'gomer.
Love me now,
Gamrina.
Let me keep on the 5 person. Love me now, Gamrina.
Okay, so what do you see? So you see over there.
I only got one comment.
It's okay. What? So what is he saying? So the Gemara is saying that in this situation by Sor from Malachim, we see there's a precedent for it in Nach. In Yirmiyahu, it says what?
Burn the stuff.
We're going to burn the clothing of the king just like we burn the clothing of the kings of yore. Okay, meaning Jewish kings. All right. So since there's a precedent that exists in Nach, it can never be considered Chukas Akum. So it sounds like Rabbanan have an iron. So at this point, the Gemara is telling you that as long as it's sourced in Tanakh, it can't be Chukas Akum. Simple as that. Okay. Let's do a little more. Now comes the Gemara in Avodah Zarah. Okay, Yud Aleph, Amud Aleph. But what do we have to know beforehand? What halacha do you have to know beforehand?
Can't give money or business to go 3 days before after the holiday.
Correct. Okay, there's a restriction in doing business with the goy 3 days before the holiday. Now, what's one of their holidays? So the whole question we'll do that today. What 2 days do they also celebrate that were idolatrous celebrations? Birthday and death day of the king. Okay, anniversary of his death. That's what we're going to focus on. Okay, anniversary of his death. So what would they do? They have like ceremonies with all sorts of idolatrous actions, meats and
drugs.
Sacrifices, probably some drugs. Anything else?
Alcohol.
Alcohol. Look at what Avodah Zarah say. Yom Haleida Yom Misa. Avodah Zarah. Hey.
Yom Haleida.
Yom Misa.
Yom Haleida. Yom Misa. We call
Rav Meir.
Savar Lo Shana Misa Sheish Lo Shreifa Lo Shana Misa Shein Bas Shreifa Pachi Balav Stukavim El Mas Shreifa Lav Chukai.
Okay, so Rav Meir, so what's the machlokes? In the Mishnah, we saw the machlokes is like this. Rav Meir holds what? Rav Meir holds that you can't do business with them, right? Let's still stick with the anniversary of the death. You can't do business with them on every anniversary of the king. So let's pick one king. King
Joe.
Okay, so King Joe, let's say his anniversary of his death is what? Is July 1st. So July 1st of every year, you can't do business with them 3 days before. But the Chacham say no. The Chacham say, no, it's only for a king who they burnt the clothes for him. Okay? Only that kind of king.
It's not idolatrous. They don't do it.
No.
It's not idolatrous. They don't do it.
What do you mean?
It's not Avodah Zarah.
No, we care. No, but what's our issue? Our issue is if burning is Chukas Akum.
Pray to their whatever it is.
No. Our issue is the burning Chukas Akum.
Why can't you trade?
So Rameir holds not a chok. Why is it not a chok? Well, why is it not Chukas Akum according to Rameir? So why is Sreifa not Chukas Akum according to Rameir?
Why is
Sreifa of the Begadim not Chukas Akum?
Because we do it. Because we have something.
No, because they always celebrated the anniversary of the king's death, whatever king it was, regardless if they burnt the clothes or not. Which would therefore mean they didn't burn clothes for every melech, which therefore means that since it only happened on occasion, it's not Chukas Akum. What?
Does it happen on
Well, we explained that, but I'm saying that's what the Ritva explains it that way. The Ritva says that what's the thing? The thing is that since they celebrate the anniversary every year. They celebrate the anniversary every year, right? Every year, no matter what, King Joe's anniversary is celebrated. But now it wouldn't matter if King Joe had his clothes burnt for him or not. They still would celebrate it, which would therefore mean they didn't burn clothes for every melech. So they didn't burn clothes for every melech. What does that tell you? It's not a chok. A chok requires what? Consistency. Every time a king dies, he gets his clothes burnt for him. So if this is the case here, how can you come into chok? But the Chum say that you only can't do business with the Goyim on their idolatrous days when they celebrated for a king who they burnt the clothing for. So therefore, the Ritva deduces, therefore that's why it's a chok. Okay?
What is that?
What's
So what do you see from the Chacham? You see that it's a chok. Why? Because the Isser on the idolatrous day only emerged in cases where they burnt the clothes for the guy. So therefore, burning clothes for the guy is now considered, there's the key point, considered consistent according to the Chacham. Exactly. Yaakov put it perfectly. Respected king is considered, burning for respected king becomes a chok. So what's the machlokas? Let's get this point across. What's the machlokas then? Before you get into toasters or anything like that, what's the machlokas? What do we say? So when it comes to burning, there's two possible things that you're burning the clothes for. Either you're burning it for the gavra or the machos. Simple. If it's for the gavra, that's the chachamim. The chachamim are going to say they evaluate each king per king. So interesting though is according to Chacham, you can have a chok on like a subcategorical level, like you said before, respect king. That's a chok can exist even for a like subcategory. But according to Rameir, it was much more consistent. What was the burning the clothes for? It was really attached to the institution of Malchus.
I don't suggest